Have you ever had that moment when someone you love gives you an ultimatum that crosses every boundary you've set? That's where I found myself 6 months ago, standing in my own kitchen while my girlfriend of 3 years told me her ex needed a place to stay, in our home, and I needed to accept it or lose her. What happened next changed everything, and I'm sharing it today because I know someone out there needs to hear this story. If this resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more real stories about setting boundaries and choosing self-respect. I met Eliza at a friend's housewarming party in the summer of 2023. She had this laugh that could fill a room, bright hazel eyes that crinkled at the corners when she smiled, and a way of making everyone feel like they were the most interesting person she'd ever met. We connected over our shared love of obscure indie films and hiking trails that tourists hadn't discovered yet. 3 months later, we were inseparable. The first year was everything you'd want in a relationship: weekend road trips to coastal towns, cooking elaborate meals together in my small apartment kitchen, and staying up until 3 a.m. talking about everything and nothing. When my lease ended, it seemed natural to ask her to move in with me. I'd saved enough for a down payment on a modest 2-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood. Our place, we called it, though legally it was mine. I'd worked overtime for years to afford it, but I wanted to build something with her. Looking back, there were warning signs I chose to ignore. The way she'd mention her ex, Marcus, in casual conversation. Marcus always said. Or, Marcus and I used to. At first, I thought it was innocent. They'd been together for 5 years before me, and shared history is hard to erase. But then came the late-night texts she'd quickly hide when I entered the room, the sudden, work emergencies, that would have her rushing out on weekends. "They're just friends," she assured me when I finally gathered the courage to ask. "We ended on good terms, and he's going through a rough patch. I'm just being supportive." I wanted to believe her. I did believe her. Until that Tuesday evening in August when she came home with a strange expression on her face. "We need to talk," she said, setting her keys on the counter with deliberate care. My stomach dropped. Those 4 words never preceded anything good. "Marcus lost his apartment," she said, her voice steady but her fingers fidgeting with her bracelet, the nervous habit I'd come to recognize. "His roommate's girlfriend moved in without warning, and things got toxic. He has nowhere to go." I nodded sympathetically, already reaching for my phone. "I can ask around, see if anyone knows of a place available short-term." "That's not necessary," she said, stopping me with a hand on my wrist. "I told him he could stay with us. In the spare room." The spare room. The one I'd been converting into a home office for my freelance work. The one with my desk, my equipment, my livelihood. "For how long?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. "Just until he finds a new place. A month, maybe 2. 2 months of living with my girlfriend's ex. 2 months of awkward breakfasts and negotiating shower schedules. 2 months of wondering if every laugh they shared contained a memory I wasn't part of." "I don't think that's a good idea," I said carefully. "It would be uncomfortable for everyone. I can help him find somewhere else, maybe chip in for a hotel for a week while he sorts things out." Her expression hardened. "He's my friend, and he needs help." "I thought you'd understand that." "I understand wanting to help a friend. But there are boundaries, Eliza. Having your ex live with us crosses mine." What followed was our first real fight. Voices raised, old grievances unearthed, tears shed. And finally, the ultimatum. "If you can't accept this, then maybe we need to reconsider our relationship." Those words hung in the air between us, heavy with implication. 3 years of love and shared dreams, balanced against this one request that felt like so much more than a request. I took a deep breath and looked around at the home we'd built together, the photographs on the walls, the mismatched furniture we'd collected, the plant she'd nursed back from the brink of death. And in that moment, with perfect clarity, I knew what I had to do. "You're right," I said quietly. "We do need to reconsider our relationship." Her face fell, surprise replacing anger. She hadn't expected me to choose this option. "What are you saying?" she whispered. "I'm saying that if you're willing to end our relationship over my discomfort with your ex moving in, then this relationship isn't what I thought it was. I won't be emotionally blackmailed in my own home." "That's not what I'm doing," she protested, but her eyes wouldn't meet mine. "Isn't it? Accept this or lose me" sounds exactly like emotional blackmail. I walked to our bedroom and pulled out the small suitcase from under the bed. With methodical calm, I began packing her essentials, enough clothes for a week, her toiletries, the book from her nightstand. "What are you doing?" she asked, following me. "Helping you pack. If Marcus needs a place to stay so badly, and you're so committed to helping him, you can go stay with him wherever he ends up. This house is my sanctuary, my safe space. I won't compromise that, not even for you. You're choosing your house over me?" Her voice cracked. "No, Eliza. I'm choosing my self-respect over someone who would threaten to leave me if I don't bend to their will. There's a difference." The next hour passed in a blur of tears and accusations. She called me heartless, controlling, insecure. I remained calm, helping her gather her things, calling her a rideshare to take her to a friend's place. As the car pulled away, I felt a strange mixture of grief and relief wash over me. That night was the longest of my life. I sat on my couch, replaying every moment of our relationship, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from her, alternating between anger and pleading. I turned it off and sat in the silence of my decision. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. I called my best friend, Sam, who came over immediately with coffee and a listening ear. "I think you did the right thing," he said after I'd recounted everything. "The ultimatum was just a symptom of something deeper." "What do you mean?" "Think about it. The late-night texts, the emergencies, the constant mentions of Marcus. She never really let him go, did she?" His words hit me like a physical blow because deep down, I'd known this truth but had been too afraid to acknowledge it. 2 days later, Eliza came by to collect more of her things. The conversation was stilted, painful, but necessary. "I talked to Marcus," she admitted, folding a sweater with excessive care. "He found a place. A friend from work is letting him crash on their couch." "I'm glad," I said, and meant it. Despite everything, I didn't wish hardship on either of them. I think I need to be honest with you," she continued, her voice small. "Marcus and we've been talking more than I let on. Nothing happened physically, I swear, but emotionally." She didn't need to finish the sentence. The truth I'd suspected hung between us, finally acknowledged. "How long?" I asked. "A few months. Since his breakup with Jen. He reached out, and I couldn't not respond. We have so much history." "History isn't the same as a future, Eliza." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know that now. I thought I could have both, you and this connection with him. I was selfish and unfair to you." In that moment, watching her cry in the home we'd shared, I felt no satisfaction, no vindication. Just sadness for what could have been and wasn't. "I think you should take some time to figure out what you really want," I said gently. "And who you want it with." She left that day with 3 suitcases and a promise to arrange for the rest of her things. I changed the locks the next morning, not out of spite, but as a symbolic gesture of closing one chapter of my life and beginning another. The weeks that followed were a masterclass in rediscovering myself. I finished the home office, took on new freelance projects, reconnected with friends I'd neglected. I started therapy to understand why I'd ignored the red flags for so long, why I'd been willing to compromise my boundaries until that final ultimatum forced me to stand firm. 2 months after our breakup, I ran into Marcus at a coffee shop downtown. The encounter was awkward but surprisingly civil. I heard what happened, he said, shifting uncomfortably. For what it's worth, I never asked to stay at your place. That was all Eliza's idea. Why am I not surprised? I replied, more tired than bitter. She and I were not together, if that's what you're wondering. After everything that happened, it didn't feel right. I nodded, unsure what to say. What do you say to the man who was unknowingly the catalyst for the end of your relationship? Take care of yourself, I finally offered, and left with my coffee. That chance meeting provided an unexpected sense of closure. The anger I'd been carrying, toward both of them, began to dissipate, replaced by a growing appreciation for the lesson I'd learned. 6 months have passed since that night in my kitchen. Eliza and I haven't spoken since she collected the last of her things. Through mutual friends, I've heard she moved to another city for a fresh start. I wish her well, genuinely. As for me, the house feels like mine now, truly mine, in a way it never did when we shared it. I've painted the walls colors I love, rearranged furniture to suit my needs, adopted a rescue dog who greets me with unbridled joy every evening. More importantly, I've learned to recognize my worth, to establish and maintain healthy boundaries, to walk away from situations that demand I diminish myself to accommodate others. It wasn't easy, there were nights I questioned everything, days I nearly called her to say I'd changed my mind. But I held firm, and that decision has made all the difference. So if you're watching this and facing your own ultimatum, remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is hand someone their suitcase and show them the door. Sometimes losing someone who doesn't respect your boundaries isn't a loss at all, it's the first step toward finding yourself again. If this story helped you in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content about relationships, self-respect, and the courage to choose yourself when necessary. Share your own experiences in the comments below. I read every single one, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you for listening to mine.